Hi, I'm Paul Spencer, and I'm going to demonstrate one of my special beads that incorporate layers of palladium and gold, as well as frit, and which is ground glass, and enamel, which is finely ground glass and highly pigmented glass. So get ready and strap in. Get yourself some popcorn or some pretzels so you don't get too bored. And I will show you how I do my art. I begin with a mandrel, and it's a mandrel that's coated with a kind of clay release that allows the bead to come off. I make mostly beads and jewelry components, and I'm starting with a color called tomato soup, which is a kind of orangey red striated glass. And I'm going to make a 13 millimeter, 12 to 13 millimeter bead, and that begins with about 5 rounds wrappings of glass or so. And I'll just make the base bead here and then shape it up. So once this comes into shape, I'm going to dip it in some enamel powder. Coming from painting, I found that I just, from the very beginning, loved enamels because they reminded me of paint pigment. I used to go down to First Avenue in New York to Gara Paint, where I used to buy pigment, and I always used to make all my own, grind my own paints. So what I'm doing now is I'm boiling the enamel, and that sort of disperses it and breaks it up into sort of flecks. Now I'm adding a darker red on top of that, just in areas. And it's an intuitive process which keeps it interesting for me. I don't always know where the color is going to go, or what the different layers are going to do. And so it's always a surprise to some extent. I'm picking up now areas, pieces of complex shard. And what this is color over color overlays that are blown out into bubbles. Here we have an example of what the shard looks like blown out. And then it's broken up into pieces that are applied to the glass. People think red is just red, but when I use it, it's layers of different reds and oranges that come together along with the enamel and the broken up pieces of glass, again called frit. And that's how I do my art. That's what makes it special and unique. It's a layering process. It's not just red glass. Now once that's on, I'm going to shape it up a bit. I use a whole variety of different shapers and rollers just to keep the bead even and keep it from going out of shape. And now I'm adding some red orange enamel, intense glass pigment onto the areas of the shard. And now I'm going to again bring that in, boil some of it, and bring it into shape. At this point, I'm putting on a little sea green. I'm just pulling the shard piece across the glass. I'm also adding a little bit of blue, light blue. Okay. and get that pulled in. Sometimes I move the molten glass around the bead, and other times I just let it melt in the way it is. And again, it's random. I don't know what I'm going to get until I'm finished. Okay. What a lot of people don't know is that enamel also comes in large pieces. They're usually called beads. And they are very intense a version of frit. It's not really the same glass that the frit is made out of. It's made out of the enamel, so it's intense. And I'm adding a couple of little pieces there. And it behaves very differently. The enamel beads, the large pieces, chunks of enamel, is the most intense color pigment I've ever seen anywhere. It's like when you see photographs of saffron and you'll see turmeric, whatever, in an Indian spice market, and it looks like just pure chalk color. That's what the enamels look like. I'm adding palladium, which is a precious metal. Adding pieces of palladium leaf and some metal over metal. So I've added a piece of palladium and then another piece of palladium over it to give it a little more body, keep it from burning out. Palladium can take a fair amount of heat, so I don't worry about it as much. As a matter of fact, it's one of the few metals that I can use with borosilicate, which is a Corning invention, and otherwise known as Pyrex. Now I am coating the palladium with transparent stringer, which is a thin pulled out piece of glass, and a topaz. I usually encase, it's called encasing, my palladium with a transparent color. All right, I'm going to shape it up again here. And now I'm going to spin a calligraphy, a black thread across the glass. You heat it up, attach it to the mandrel, and then spin very quickly. I'm going to do that one more time. Attach it to the glass and just sort of spin the glass around. And that applies this sort of black calligraphy to it. And I believe I am going to be making a bicone. I'm going to start it in this bicone mold. Just roll it in this and then put it in an actual bicone roller. Move the glass around. Now, this bead is going to have gold leaf, and it's another metal I like to use. And I don't add the gold leaf until the very end. And again, once I have the shape, I heat it, And then I'll take up a piece of gold leaf and apply it. Then I have to heat it. Again, more gold leaf. And the balance of how much gold to actually put on, that depends. Okay, that looks about right. I may want just a tad more. Yeah, I think right over here I want a little. All right. So I heat up the gold leaf again, and then I shape the bead. Gold leaf in the outer edge of the flame, and shape the bead to get a nice shape on it. The very final thing is to pull in the ends, because I want this to abut with the beads that are going adjacent to this. And you learn when you make jewelry as well as do glass that there's the practical side of the bead, and you want it to work with the jewelry. This goes into the kiln, and now I will show you the finished product. All that color, all that brightness, the translucency, if you can see. That's all worked and built up into the finished product. And in this case, along with the ashes. And there you have my art, my way of a painter's way of doing flame working. Thank you for watching.